Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we bring you a story that is not just about steel and engines, not just about a naval ship tied to its pier, but about the living heart of history, sacrifice, and pride. Get ready, because what you're about to hear is the extraordinary journey of BRP Rafael Pargas PC-379, a vessel that stands as a quiet sentinel of the Philippine Navy, guarding its seas, carrying memories of the men and women who served on her decks, and resting today in the harbor like a seasoned warrior who has earned both respect and reverence. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this scene, a calm morning at the port. The sky is washed with the colors of dawn, and there, alongside the pier, rests BRP Rafael Pargas. To some, it might look like just another patrol craft, but to those who know its story, it is far more than that. It is a floating piece of history, a guardian that has witnessed the relentless waves of duty, the weight of maritime security, and the hopes of a nation that depends on its sailors to keep the waters safe. The BRP Rafael Pargas PC-379 is part of the Jose Andrade-class patrol craft of the Philippine Navy. Sleek, fast, and versatile, ships like these are built not for luxury or show, but for work, for long days and nights of patrolling coasts, intercepting threats, and supporting communities in times of disaster. At first glance, you might notice its modest size compared to massive warships from bigger navies, but don't let that fool you. In naval service, size does not measure spirit, and Rafael Pargas carries within its hull the spirit of every Filipino sailor who stood watch, braved storms, and never backed down from responsibility. When this vessel was commissioned, it was not just a machine being put into service. It was the beginning of a relationship between ship and crew. Every scratch on the paint, every echo in the corridors, every moment spent at sea became part of a story of men and women who entrusted their lives to this ship, and in return, trusted it to bring them safely back home. Standing at the port today, BRP Rafael Pargas looks calm, but imagine the journeys it has taken. Imagine the sound of the engines roaring as it cut through rough waters. Picture the crew lined up on deck as the flag of the Philippines fluttered in the wind. These are not scenes from a movie. This is reality, lived day after day by sailors who gave their sweat, their time, and sometimes their lives, so that the nation's waters could remain secure. Warships like this are not defined only by their firepower or their metal. They are defined by stories of endurance, of sleepless nights at sea, of standing guard in the dark while the rest of the world slept. Inside its narrow corridors, sailors shared meals, laughter, and sometimes tears. They celebrated victories, mourned losses, and learned the meaning of brotherhood and sisterhood. On those decks, under scorching sun and heavy rain, they built resilience, discipline, and trust. Now, as the ship rests at the harbor, tied to the pier, it is almost as if the Rafael Pargas is taking a long breath. The port is alive with activity, cranes lifting containers, dockworkers moving about, the smell of saltwater mixing with oil and metal. And in the middle of it all stands this patrol craft, quiet but commanding. It doesn't shout for attention, but it doesn't need to. Its very presence tells you, here is a ship that has done its duty, here is a ship that carries honor. If you walk closer, you might hear the faint creaking of its hull against the pier. You might notice the faded paint in places, the signs of age and service. But instead of seeing wear and tear, see it as a badge of honor. Every mark is proof of resilience, of storms weathered, of missions completed. This is what makes a warship more than just a machine. This is what makes it a vessel of memory. Think about the sailors who once stood watch on its bridge, scanning the horizon for any sign of trouble. Think about the young recruits, nervous yet proud, who stepped aboard for the first time, feeling the weight of responsibility on their shoulders. Think about the officers who guided the crew, teaching them not only how to sail and fight, but how to endure, how to serve, how to sacrifice. All of them left a part of themselves on this ship, and in return, the ship gave them something they would carry for the rest of their lives: pride, discipline, and the knowledge that they were protectors of their nation. When you look at BRP Rafael Pargas today, resting at the harbor, you are not just looking at steel. You are looking at a silent storyteller. You are looking at decades of service condensed into one frame. And the harbor itself becomes part of the story. The cranes, the warehouses, the workers, the pier, they are the backdrop to a theater of resilience. The ship may be quiet now, but its silence is powerful. It is the silence of a veteran who doesn't need to prove anything anymore. And yet, the story doesn't end here. Ships like Rafael Pargas inspire the next generation. They stand as reminders to young Filipinos that service is not about glory, but about dedication. They remind us that freedom of the seas and security of the nation come at a cost paid by sailors who leave their families behind, who miss birthdays and holidays, who endure hardships so that others can live in peace. This is why standing before a ship like BRP Rafael Pargas moves people. It's not just nostalgia. It's not just patriotism. It's the recognition of sacrifice. It's the acknowledgement that even in a world driven by technology and speed, there is still something deeply human about a ship that carries stories in every bolt, every deck plate, every journey logged in its records. So next time you see a naval vessel docked quietly at a port, don't just see it as hardware. See it as history. See it as memory. See it as the embodiment of service. And if that ship happens to be the BRP Rafael Pargas, know that you are looking at a guardian of Philippine waters, a protector that has given its best years in service of the people. As we close this story, let us remember that ships, like people, have lifespans. But their legacy, what they represent, outlives them. The BRP Rafael Pargas may one day leave active service, but the values it stands for, resilience, loyalty, sacrifice, will remain alive in the hearts of those who knew it, served on it, and protected the nation with it. Thank you for joining us today. If this story moved you, if it reminded you of the unseen sacrifices behind every naval vessel, then make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video. Because stories like this deserve to be heard, and ships like BRP Rafael Pargas deserve to be remembered. Until next time, this is your host, signing off with respect and gratitude to all who serve at sea.